because, one thing Tony Robbins says, and then just in general, is it's like, the quality of our lives is the quality of our emotions, right? Because most people, it's like, oh my God, I feel a certain way. It's like, what am I doing? And then we go in these roundabout ways of trying to change our default emotional states, right? We go in really roundabout ways. I need to have this much money. I need to make these kind of changes, which is all very fair and important to address, by the way. Not knocking that, right? But you can even take it to another level where you can, just create the emotions you're looking to create with a little more detachment of what your life circumstances are.
Exactly. And another way of putting that is basically your goal here is not to take control over reality. It's not to have power over the external reality. The goal is really to be in sync with it, to flow with it, because the moment that you start to force things and you go out of balance, you go against, you resist in some capacity, you're gonna create conflict. And that's really not the goal here.
No, oh man. Definitely 100%. And what that brings up is like because you're right, man, you can't control. This isn't about controlling reality as much as we may try. It's just not possible. Like, it's just not possible.
Right.
And with that, we take a look at what can we control. And most times, if not all times, the only thing we can really control is
the meaning of our experiences.
Exactly. The internal world. Right?
The internal
thoughts,
world.
The emotions, and then your own actions, right? But mostly the way you're making things mean and things of that nature.
Exactly. Welcome back, listener. This is Push Your Evolution Podcast, Episode 7, Building Energetic Awareness. That's our topic today.
Let's go.
We're really going to get down to the core function of how reality operates today. We're going to take a straight, deep dive into helping you understand more of just how important it is to build this skill. And we're just going to call it today energetic awareness. It is literally the number one skill that you will be building for the rest of your life. It's nonstop. It's a nonstop emerging process of unlocking your understanding of the fabric of the reality around you. And trust me, it keeps going and going and going.
Oh boy, indeed. And off the get-go, if I may, there are two resources that I just want to share, two names actually. One is, I believe it's David R. Hawkins, and the other one is, oh my goodness, what is his name? Oh gosh, I have his book right, Dr. Joe Dispenza. These two people, their work is centered around energy awareness, self-awareness, personal transformation, and they dive deep, like this stuff. I don't know where the world is at by the time you're listening to this, but in my humble opinion, the work that these people are doing, which is based in like quantum physics,
quantum mechanics,
quantum physics,
building the gap between spirituality and science, and really understanding how all the ancients already had all this knowledge and we're catching up.
Basically, again, the name is David R. Hawkins and Dr. Joe Dispenza. Their stuff is way ahead of its time, but as Marcus has said, bridging that gap between spirituality and science and the tangible and the intangible. And so excited to share this one with y'all, because it's an absolute game changer and an absolute must, in my opinion.
Right. And before we really get started here, what's the reason you're here, listener? Right? What is the reason that you're spending this time in this moment to listen to us? It's because you want to improve. You want to expand your ability to feel what you want to feel. You know, you want to feel what you want to feel on a daily basis. You want to push your evolution forward to be able to just create the life that you want to live. Because that's all that matters at the end of the day, right? Is happiness. Am I going to wake up today and feel exactly what I want to feel? Am I going to interact and spend my time and energy in the ways that I want to spend? Right? If that's what's filling your mind, then you're right where you need to be. Today, we're going to help you understand what it really means to build your energetic awareness and how it's going to serve you for the rest of your life.
Indeed, brace yourselves. Not even brace yourselves. Be ready, be open. And let's just get right on to it, dude.
All right, let's do it, Gabe. Listener, on this journey of becoming the master of your reality, pushing your evolution forward, and creating the life on a daily basis that you want to live, the road to achieving this is by building energetic awareness on all fronts. And this process of expanding your understanding, expanding your consciousness, and elevating your perceptions to be able to see newer and newer heights. This process is called the self-actualization process. Becoming a hold of yourself, consciously, energetically. Becoming a hold of your internal world and how it affects the external and the relationship that they share. Becoming a hold of understanding your deep, connected power that you have to this world, this reality, this dimension, and the multiple dimensions and the multiple realities that we exist on. I'm sorry to say, but most of the way that society is set up now completely separates us from understanding our own inner power. Technology, social media, the diets of people, the lifestyles of people, everything. Nothing is really setting us up for energetic understanding and understanding the deep interconnected world that our mind, body, and spirit have together. One of the main aspects on this self-actualization journey, this process that you go on, is you'll start to realize one very important understanding. You are not your thoughts. You are not your mind. You are not your body. You are not any of those things. You're not even the you that you think of when you think of you. What you truly are is conscious awareness itself, the underlying energetic spirit that is having a human experience.
If you're hearing this for the first time, that might sound foreign to you. It may be confusing, and it could also resonate. Like maybe you that's kind of what you felt all along. Wherever you are with that is okay. And really at the end of the day, of course, with everything that me and Marcos share with you, it's always about take what works for you and leave what doesn't. But you know, one of the, at least for me personally, and I think Marcus can relate, something about that's profound about that is you can begin to how can I put this? You can begin to strip away the layers that are not really you. and you can reconnect, maybe for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, you can reconnect to your essence, the essence of your being, something outside of your sense of self that has to do with how old you are, the race you are, the money you have or don't have, and instead be connected to something way more pure and more quote unquote true, which is the essence of your being.
The very essence.
The very essence of your being. And so, you know, the more you can really strip away from these things that aren't really you, and you can get more in tune with what you really are, it feels more and more like home, and just a type of self-connection that is there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
There's so many words to describe it. Source energy, God within, whatever you want to call it. There is an underlying conscious awareness that drives the entire production of our existence. It is conscious awareness itself. It's the entire universe getting a hold of itself and understanding the fabric of the creation, of the geometric spinning of conscious creation itself. The depth to the expanding awareness that we have of the fabric of the reality around us is expanding right now. Unfortunately, most people are not stepping into this space yet. And where it becomes a problem is in the world of mental sickness, mental challenge that on a large scale is taking over big parts of our species, our humanity, our global health. Here's the thing. Trillions and trillions of cells come together in our body to create one human, a superorganism. Billions and billions of humans come together to create the next level of organism, humanity. Right now, it's very important for everyone, collectively, to begin to start building their energetic awareness so we can understand that we have a lot of control over the reality we experience. We have a lot of influence on the events of the destiny of our lives and our existence. We are very, very, very powerful creatures, and unfortunately, throughout most of society, our brilliance has been suppressed due to the systems that we operate and how the few desire to control the many. There's a lot of different factors that have kept our fellow humans low on conscious scale. Now, I'm not saying that we can't think and they can't process and they can't compute like machines, biological machines, because we all can. But as you ascend up through the self-actualization process, you will begin to see that, we're not our bodies, we're not our minds, we're not the images of ourselves that we think. We're conscious awareness itself, expressing ourselves through this particular vehicle. This is the essence of quantum mechanics, and all the past ancestors that we've had in spirituality have explained in one form or another. So the first takeaway today to understand is your internal really does control the external. You are the radio signal tapping into this transmitter. And you have the ability at any moment to choose the vibrational state, aka emotions, that you want to feel. Your emotional center, 95% of the body's serotonin is in the gut. So literally, everything that you think, feel, eat, do, experience is housed chemically in the gut. And the gut sends the signals up to the brain. And then we start to make any thoughts or decisions or meaning associated with this experience, whether it be bad, good, right, wrong, amazing, horrible, everything. But we are not our minds. And our minds are like the RAM, the storage. The storage for understanding the assumptions that we create, to understand more of the structure of the world around us. And here's the thing. We're always in control of that assumed structure of the world around us. Because regardless of any input you may have from the external, all of that feedback is processed through our existence. And it's our choice what the meaning of that is, through connecting with our biochemical feedback system, aka emotions, whether it be our intuition and understanding our higher self, spiritual intuition, or any faculty of energetic awareness that we have. The truth is that you're incredibly, incredibly powerful. And we're here right now to connect you back to this deep, deep understanding.
Everything Marco said resonates highly, and what I like to do is to really simplify what he's saying and make it such that you can clearly, you the audience can clearly utilize what we're talking about in your life today. And it's really simple. It's really simple, and it branches out to, you know, more levels of depth and context. But essentially, okay, what we're talking about is taking control of your emotions and your thoughts, which basically is your perception. Your thoughts and emotions are your perception. And then with that, by taking control of your perception, you take control of how you're looking at life, how you're filtering life, how you're experiencing your life. And for example, right, let's say let's take a look at some beliefs, right? Some beliefs which are just perceptions, which are just thoughts and emotions. There's one belief, right? Let's say you walk out the door, on the way, one belief called, man, when bad things happen, it seems like more bad things happen.
Whoa.
And so that alone is we're creating that experience by holding on to that belief. And so then, as you go throughout your day, you are then filtering all your experiences through this belief called, when one bad thing happens, more bad things tend to happen. And that belief alone, it snowballs. So for example, you spill your coffee and there it begins. Oh my God, you tell yourself it's just going to be one of those days. And here's one of the critical things, is that you're telling yourself this, but in many cases it's unconscious. And so then a lot of times we walk around our day using unconscious perceptions and beliefs and filters.
Yeah.
And so the whole point is to become conscious, to become aware, and then to take control of your inner thoughts and emotions, and then transform them into things that empower you or uplift you, or whatever you want and prefer. And so instead of walking around with, oh my God, the coffee spilled, more bad things are going to happen, and then the traffic, and then now you're angry, and then, oh my God, and you're just living in this whirlwind of victimhood and anger. First of all, the question to ask yourself is this what I'd like to be experiencing? Is this something I want to keep in my life? And you always have that right. But you're allowed to change it to whatever you want. And it could be of varying degrees. So for example, you could change it to, oh, you know, when bad things happen, they just happen, and also good things happen. Another perception is what is bad even really? Right? A coffee spills, like that doesn't have to be bad. That can be neutral. It can be just, oh, it spilled.
Right. Or who am I when bad things happen?
Sure. The point here is you can really the possibilities are endless.
Yes.
And it's yeah, go ahead.
Just say on this process of self-actualization, right? This gaining a hold of different perceptions is the skill that you're building of emotional intelligence. Being more and more proactive instead of reactive, becoming way more in control of your moment to moment emotional states. You can do this. It is possible. You can get to the point where nothing can ever bring you in any direction. Nothing will enter your inner sanctum and demand a particular direction. Now, we don't want to get it twisted. The goal isn't to eliminate fear. The goal isn't to eliminate sadness or any pain or suffering or any emotion. Pain is inevitable. As a human, you're going to experience a whole spectrum of emotions. But in gaining the skill of deeper and stronger emotional intelligence, the speed at which you shift the direction that you're going in changes the game. When you feel that sadness, when you feel that anger, when you feel these emotions that are teaching you something through your gut biochemical feedback system, when you're learning more about what you like and what you dislike, it's there for you. It's a tool. Your emotions are a tool. They're not to be resisted ever. They are to always be embraced fully, facing the fire, leaning into the heat, the intensity. Most people run away. Most people try to stuff away, try to hide them, try to put away their emotions in any way they can. Literally, there are unlimited ways to cope or escape. It is an art form. But you're here because you're going the opposite way now. You're here because you want to face the fire of your own emotions, the things you've been running away from, the things you didn't want to face, the things that you know have been just sitting there, nagging constantly. Maybe it's intense for you right now. Maybe you're in pain. Maybe you're suffering. You don't need to suffer. Listen. Lean into it. Accept what you feel and learn what it is trying to teach you. It has a message for you. It is you, your essence is deciding the true, authentic meaning of the experience. Listen to your inner voice and what your body is trying to tell your mind and spirit.
I love that, dude. And maybe what you can do is run the audience through how you process and go through this. That way, you can give them kind of like a template or an example that they can model, just as a starting point for them.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I'll give you one example. During my day job, I work for the Yerba Mate Co. And I deliver beverages to many different places. A specific energy drink that is from Argentina. There's a particular location that I have to go to often. Safeway, giant grocery store. And for the longest time, I had such a shitty attitude about having to go there every single day. And guess what? Because I had a belief that when I go to Safeway, I will not enjoy myself. I will not be happy. I'm going to have a bad time. Guess what? I did. I was creating my reality. 100%.
Right.
That's not love. That's not self-love. I don't deserve that. Right? It was a small part of my day, and yet it was taking up huge emotional toll. So I said, okay, Marcos, you know the process of building emotional intelligence. You understand that what you focus on, you will feel. And that by my deciding the meaning of my experience, that I'm going to experience that. So I said, okay, what if I decided to have a good time? What if I decided that there is no problem?
Ooh.
What if I decided
that's hot shit
that I could absolutely love to show up here?
Ooh. Jesus Christ.
And before you know it, that snowball effect went the opposite way. Man. Everyone started to know my name. My energy, my presence, and my happiness, and my being radiated joy. So I attracted joy. Because I decided that I wanted to experience a particular emotion, I manifested the particular emotion. I began to see all the ways in which I could reinforce that emotion. I began to pull happier and happier people around me. And now I'm shocked. I'm shocked that I had ever had such a negative perception.
Shocked.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter the circumstances. It doesn't matter what external reality you are experiencing. Your internal will then reflect to the external. Your internal state will not only reflect to the external, it will change the external. You have that power.
Beautifully said, dude. Perfect example. And I think this is such a great. I have some of my own, but I want to reiterate to the audience is that Marcos was, the environment was exactly the same Safeway, right? Yet what changed was his attitude or his internal perception or belief, and what once was, F this place isn't worthy
F
of
people,
me.
F this
F
place,
these people,
F
F everything.
time.
He went from that to what? What's the core belief now for you, or the core attitude?
I can't wait to go to Safeway.
I can't wait to go to Safeway. And again, the same Safeway, two different beliefs and core perceptions, two completely different experiences with different outcomes, different emotions, different everything. And so the point here is that it's not what's happening out there that you really need to change or alter. It's what's going on inside. And I'd like to share an example or two as well from my own life, because it's so tremendous. And I'd like to maybe connect. I'd like to share one, because this one in particular, this one allowed me to get in the best shape of my life at that time, which was 2018. Okay, so prior to that, I'm like many people, and many of you can probably relate, which is always wanting to be in shape, but never getting there, right? Whether that was 2 months off, two months on, just never maintaining the consistency for whatever reason.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people can resonate with that.
Yeah. And first of all, in 2018, I kind of had this critical breakthrough moment. I was still driving for DoorDash. I didn't have my life coaching practice or my YouTube channel then, but those were always aspirations of mine, as well as being in shape, right? But I was avoiding everything as best I could. And so I was driving DoorDash, kind of ignoring everything that I needed and wanted to do. But long story short, I got tired of DoorDash, and I was like, I made a $300 tip, but it wasn't making me happy. I was like, wow, none of this is making me happy. I need to go for what I need to actually go for. And what that did right there is it shifted my energy from being fearful to being wide open and courageous towards going all of my goals. So that was a big one. Like having the courage, like it went from, no, I don't want to do any of that, that's scary, to I'm going to go for it all no matter what. I don't care. I don't care if it hurts. I don't care. I'm going to go for it all. And so that core energetic shift right there is huge. And in this moment, audience, I want you to feel the difference between those two beliefs. The one belief being, I'd like to have it, but I don't know, it's a lot. It's still too much. I don't know. Versus I'm going to go for it all no matter what. I don't care how hard it is. I'm going to make it happen. Right? So two different worlds. Anyways, okay. So and not so ironically, as I made that shift, all of these different things that support me making things happen come my way. My friend, who I barely even talked about at the time, comes to me with this opportunity. Anyways, long story short, I do a couple exercises, a week or so of exercising hard, getting my nutrition right. And there was this critical moment. I could feel the inner world. This was the make or break point. The inner world was saying, quite literally, unconsciously, it was saying, this sucks. This hurts. I don't want to do it. This sucks. This hurts. It's too much. I don't want to do it. And I became aware of this, right? And the way that showed up was I was resistant to showing up to workouts after a couple weeks. There was suffering. It was like, And how long can a person really handle, right? It's like, no, how do I get away from,
Better question. How long does someone want to handle that?
Well, my point is, what I recognized was that, okay, this energy is going to take me out of the game if I don't take control of what this is. And so, as I said, I recognized that the belief that I was running was, this hurts, this sucks, I don't want to do it. And clearly, if I let that keep running, I'm going to quit. And so I made a conscious decision to let go of that, And I changed it. And the key here is to change it to a perception that empowers you. And so at that time, the perception that I created and that empowered me was, only 1% of people actually show up and figure this out. And I'm one of those people, and I'm a champion. And I rode with that. And again, in combination with the willingness to do whatever it took, that took me to great heights, man. I was, not that it means anything, but just to demonstrate the vision, the picture for you. I got a 6-pack for the first time in my life. I hiked up some of the tallest mountains in the world, which were things well beyond my sense of ability at that time. Right. But by staying open and continuing to take charge of myself and my thoughts and emotions, and hence my actions, I was able to create that reality for myself. And one more, if I may. I know I went through it real quick. I want to share one more, and I think it's even quicker and even more relatable. Not as relatable, but it's good. So I used to work with kids one-on-one, and these kids would be pretty difficult sometimes. Anyways, my supervisor, I didn't always have a great relationship with. In fact, I used to be scared of her. And in my phone, as her contact, I would put her name and then in parentheses, supervisor, right? Whatever. But one day I just made the decision that like I wanted to change this. And instead I put in my contacts world's best boss. And I just made this decision that I was going to create a relationship with her that was awesome, like badass and awesome. And it was in the decision and it was a simple language shift from seeing her as my supervisor to like world's best boss. We became more connected. I became more open. We laughed. To this day, like I can message her right now and she'll offer me a job if I'm looking for one. And it just, there was so much harmony and unity, and similar to Marcos's story with Safeway. It was basically this process of transforming a perception of suffering to then a perception of some sense of joy or awesomeness or what have you.
Right.
Yeah.
And let me share one more example. This isn't a personal one, but a lot of people can relate to this, right? Having a belief for whatever reason, one way or another, where you think you're not enough. You think you're not adequate. You think, for whatever reason, I don't measure up to, I don't have the right whatever, or I will never be enough for blank. For whatever reason. When you have that belief, it can really spill into all the different areas of your life, and you begin to feel the sensations of deeper and deeper unworthiness as you program yourself to believe yourself to be someone that is unworthy for whatever reason. And again, in this process of you are determining the assumed perception of your reality and who you are as a being, you're going to manifest that. And then you begin to build a hell for yourself. You begin to really dig a hole of sadness or sorrow or deep lethargy or a deep desire to escape and to run away when you're creating it in your mind. The truth is that whether you think it or really experience it, your mind doesn't really know the difference, because all your mind is operating from is the assumed chemical emotional response of the input that you give it, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And the whole goal is to always be conscious of the biochemical feedback system that is operating. Your emotions are a tool to reinforce the reality you want to be experiencing. So in the case of feeling unworthy and not good enough for whatever, begin to unravel that. And here's the next major takeaway. Connect to the presence. In reality, the presence is all we are experiencing. There's no real past or future. All we really experience is the present, because the past and the future are just your own interpretation. It only really exists in the fabric of your conscious mind. In the present is where we really connect to our ability to be in control of our emotions and the meaning of our experiences, and to take control of our life and feel the way we want to feel on a moment-to-moment, day-to-day basis. Create stillness in your life, a calmness. Create a time, create a space in your day to just turn it all off. Disconnect from every story, every responsibility, everything you feel attached to, every action you think you have to be taking. Disconnect from it all. Turn it all off and come to the present. Meeting yourself at your breath. In and out. Paying attention to the sensations that you feel in your mind, body, and spirit, and listening to it. Understanding it. Building a new relationship with it, with you. Rebuilding the relationship you have with you and your own energy and your own awareness of your own responsibility of your energy. You are conscious awareness itself. Become in tune with the totality of your existence and don't resist anything. Accept it all. Embrace it. Everything you feel.
Some of you are right there with us in terms of this understanding, and it's just a refresher or a reminder to you. Others, maybe you've delved into a little bit, but maybe not as much. And others, this could be the first time you're hearing it. Take what works for you, leave what doesn't. And again, in really simple terms, it does get deeper. Marcos really took us to a whole nother place there. And in fact, I encourage you, if it resonated with you, I encourage you to lean into that. The presence. Because what's coming up for me right now is, and I appreciate Marcos bringing to the space, was we can get so caught up in so many different things. Even our own growth and transformation, we can get caught up in that. It can become neurotic. It can become, an ego attachment. But to Marcos's point, when we take the time to put that all aside and just be, and in that being, letting go of the need for anything, letting go of a need and attachment, and we can just let that go and instead be present with the fact that everything is all good.
Most definitely, as you push your evolution forward, you're going to see that the destination, the goal, the place you're going to from point A to point B, your happiness and fulfillment isn't at point B. You're not complete by having done this thing. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to accomplish anything, quote unquote. Your happiness is now. Your choice to feel fulfilled is now. Your choice to feel complete, fulfilled, satisfied, happy, in alignment with is right now in the present. You will begin to really become the master of your reality. You will begin to understand the deep interconnectedness that you have with the entire experience, the totality of the experience that you experience. And it's not like you're going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden, I'm different. It's a process. It most definitely is a process. It takes time. It takes conscious effort every day, bringing yourself to the present moment to allow yourself to be proactive and in control of your emotional space, right? The vibrations that you're existing in, the levels of fulfillment that you want to resonate with, expanding both your ability to receive and to give. It's a whole process. But when you choose to be in alignment with the universe, when you make that pact with consciousness itself, you will manifest everything that you want. You can create heaven on earth, quote unquote. You can create what you want. Don't you deserve that? In fact, yes. But you have to decide that. It really is that simple. Just make a choice on what you deserve. Expand what you think is allowed into your life. Expand the skills that will transform your life beyond just emotional intelligence. There are many things that you will develop on the self-actualization journey. But the whole essence is building your energetic awareness.
Amen. Oh man, and something I wanted to add, just one more thing, is first, like Marco said, give yourself permission to grow, to transform, to be more, become more of a master of your own reality, a master of yourself. And in addition to that, to give yourself the grace and space to be human, to be lost, to not know, to fall short, right? So it's now you're creating a space to not only be more whole, more complete, more in charge of yourself and your reality, as well as the space to be the opposite and everything in between, and that there's no right way, there's no correct way, and you're allowed to take charge of yourself and your perceptions and create a beautiful life internally and externally for yourself. And that really is one of the, I can't speak for Marcos, I'm sure he can relate, but one of the pillars for what we're trying to do with this podcast is we're encouraging people and inviting people to consider that they can live beautiful, powerful, and enriching lives in which they can have a lot of what they want to be having, both in the tangible realm in terms of material success, as well as the fulfillment and the enrichment of the internal experience, and that what's required in that is to be more conscious, to walk the path of self-actualization to some degree, but to be conscious and to take control of yourself and your perceptions and thus your actions, and to direct yourself and your life in the direction that you want, and that it's possible to do that.
100% possible.
So onward you go.
Begin to build the new energetic relationship with yourself by spending more time being present on a daily basis to get a hold of your energy and the connection your mind, body, and spirit have together, and understanding that You are the master of your reality. You have everything you need right now to be exactly the person you want to be and exactly how you want to feel. I empower you to empower yourself. You deserve it.
Indeed.
We love you.
That we do.
Thank you for joining us today, listener. It is always a pleasure for us to have an audience with you. We want to provide the space for your healing, for your consciousness to grow. And you know what? It is growing. Good job. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Yes, sir.
Tune in with us next time. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a great one, y'all. Keep diving deep. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.